You get in your car. You turn the key. The engine hums to life just like any other day. But today is different. As you back out of your driveway, you turn the steering wheel, and you hear it. A high-pitched squeak, a faint whine. It is a small sound, almost easy to ignore. Maybe it is just the cold morning air, or maybe the tires are rubbing on the pavement. You might even turn up the radio to drown it out. But that sound is not just a random noise. It is a message from your car, a warning sign that something is wrong. Ignoring a little squeak is a gamble. It is a bet that the problem is nothing serious, a bet that it will just go away on its own. But cars do not heal themselves. That small sound is the very first symptom of a problem that is just beginning. It might start quietly, only appearing when you make a sharp turn. Then it gets more frequent, squealing every time you navigate a parking lot. This is your car's way of talking to you, telling you that a critical system, the one that lets you control where you are going, needs your immediate attention. Think of it like this. Your car is a complex machine with many moving parts all working together in harmony. The steering system is one of the most important parts of that machine. It connects you, the driver, directly to the road. When that system starts making noises, it is like a single instrument in an orchestra playing out of tune. At first, it is just a minor annoyance. But if you let it continue, it can throw the entire performance into chaos. And in a car, chaos can have very serious and dangerous consequences for you and everyone else on the road. This sound is your car begging you to stop and listen. It is a plea for help before a small issue escalates into a major failure. It is not just about the annoying noise. It is about safety, reliability, and preventing a simple, cheap fix from turning into a wallet-draining repair bill. That squeak is your earliest opportunity to be proactive, to take control of the situation. So, let's not turn up the radio, let's turn it down, roll down the windows and listen closely. Your car is trying to tell you something important, and it is time for you to understand what it is saying. So, what is your car actually trying to say with that squeal? There are a handful of common culprits. The most frequent one is low-power steering fluid. Your power steering system is hydraulic. It uses pressurized fluid to help steer. That fluid is stored in a reservoir under the hood. Close-up of reservoir with amine and max lines. When fluid drops too low, the power steering pump can suck in air. Air in the hydraulic lines makes the pump work harder. The result? A whining or squealing sound that gets louder as you turn the wheel. Another common culprit is the power steering pump itself. The pump creates the hydraulic pressure your steering needs. Over time, bearings and vanes inside the pump can wear out. A failing pump can groan or whine, and the noise changes with engine speed. You might also notice a burning smell if the pump overheats. Pump seals can fail and cause fluid leaks. Leaks lead back to low fluid, a more serious problem. Next, the drive belt, aka the serpentine belt. The belt is driven by the engine's crankshaft. It powers accessories including the power steering pump. It powers the alternator. It powers the water pump. If the belt gets old, cracked, glazed, or loose, it can slip on the pulleys. Slipping creates a sharp, high-pitched squeal, especially on cold starts or sharp turns. A slipping belt can snap and instantly disable power steering. Finally, the noise may come from suspension or steering parts. Tie rod ends, ball joints, control arm bushings. Worn parts can tear their rubber boots, letting dirt and water in and grease out. That causes metal-on-metal contact and squeaks, creaks, or groans as the suspension moves or when you turn. These are serious safety issues. These parts are critical for control. This is the big question everyone asks. Can you still drive your car when the steering wheel is making noise? The short, cautious answer is, maybe, but only for a very short distance, like directly to a repair shop. If the sound is a faint, consistent whine that just started, and the steering still feels completely normal and responsive, you might be okay to drive slowly and carefully. Early stage problem, likely slightly low fluid. This is not a green light to continue your daily commute or go on a long road trip. You are driving on borrowed time. There are very clear signs that tell you to stop driving immediately. If the steering feels heavy, pull over as soon as it is safe. If the steering feels stiff, pull over as soon as it is safe. If the steering feels much harder to turn than usual, pull over as soon as it is safe. That indicates a significant loss of power steering assistance. If the steering wheel is jerking, that's a red alert. If the steering wheel is jumping, that's a red alert. If the steering wheel feels loose in your hands, that's a red alert. Those are signs of major failure in the steering linkage or suspension. A car you cannot reliably control is a danger to everyone. Do not risk it. Your destination is not as important as your safety. Another critical warning sign is the sound itself. If the squeak suddenly becomes a loud grinding noise, stop driving. If the squeak suddenly becomes a clunking noise, stop driving. Those suggest a failed pump or broken suspension component. If you see smoke coming from under the hood, stop immediately. If you smell a strong burning odor, stop immediately. Smoke or burning smell. Extreme friction or fluid on hot parts. Fire hazard. In any of these situations, the answer is a firm and absolute no. Call a tow truck, not your boss. Err on the side of extreme caution. Power steering is a safety-critical system. Losing steering at speed can cause a catastrophic accident. If in doubt, stop driving. A tow bill is small compared to a potential crash. Your life and others are worth far more than saving time. So, what happens if you choose to ignore that squeak? Let's play it out. You hear the noise, but you have places to be. You keep driving for days, then weeks. That small problem might have started as low-power steering fluid, and then it begins to snowball. Running the pump without enough fluid is like running an engine without oil. The pump overheats, internal parts grind without lubrication, and the component destroys itself from the inside out. The damage becomes irreversible. Consequences escalate fast. What a $5 bottle of fluid could fix now requires a complete pump replacement. This repair is much more expensive and time-consuming, but it can get worse. A failing pump can send tiny metal shavings through the whole system. Particles contaminate the fluid, clog delicate passages in the steering rack, or gum up the steering gear that turns your wheels. Now you're not just replacing a pump, you're replacing the entire steering rack. If the problem is a worn drive belt, you ignore the high-pitched squeal. The belt gets looser and slips more, until one day on the highway it snaps. Suddenly you lose power steering. The wheel becomes incredibly difficult to turn. You may also lose the alternator, so your battery stops charging, and lose the water pump. Your engine overheats. Now you're stranded on the roadside with major engine risk. Ignored suspension creaks are scarier. A bad ball joint or a worn tie rod end gets louder. You keep driving. Then you hit a pothole and the worn part fails. A ball joint could separate and your wheel collapse outward, or a tie rod could break and a front wheel turn independently. You instantly lose steering control. You could veer into traffic or off the road. You do not have to be a master mechanic to start figuring out what is wrong. You can do some simple checks right in your driveway that will help you pinpoint the problem. First things first, safety. Park your car on a flat level surface, put it in park, engage the parking brake. Let the engine cool down completely before you open the hood to avoid getting burned. Your first and easiest check is the power steering fluid. Pop the hood. Locate the power steering fluid reservoir. It's a small plastic container with a black cap, often marked with a steering wheel icon. Translucent reservoirs show Mayan and max lines. Others have a dipstick attached to the cap. If you have a dipstick, pull the cap off. Wipe the dipstick clean with a paper towel, reinsert it fully, pull it out again to read the level. If the fluid is below the MIN or ADD line, it's too low. That's a common cause of steering squeaks, and easy to fix. If low, top it off. Use the correct type of fluid for your vehicle. Check your owner's manual. Wrong fluid can damage seals and components. Use a small funnel to slowly add fluid to the max line. Don't overfill. Start the engine. Turn the steering wheel from lock to lock a few times to help bleed air. While under the hood, inspect the serpentine belt. You don't need to remove it. Look for visible cracks. Look for fraying on the edges. Look for a shiny glazed surface where it contacts pulleys. Those signs mean the belt is old and needs replacing. With the engine off, press down on the belt in the longest span between pulleys. It should feel tight with very little give. If it feels loose and spongy, it might just need tightening. Or the belt tensioner could be failing. We have gone through the causes, the risks, the simple checks you can perform at home. Now it is time for the most important part, taking action. A squeaky steering wheel is not a problem that fixes itself. It is a clear and direct warning that a critical system in your car is failing. Ignoring it is like ignoring a smoke alarm in your house. You might get away with it for a little while, but the potential consequences are severe. Do not gamble with your safety or the safety of others who share the road with you. The time to act is now. Here is your final, unmistakable warning. If at any point your steering feels loose, if it becomes suddenly hard to turn, stop driving the car immediately. Do not try to make it home. Do not try to get to the next exit. Pull over to a safe location, turn on your hazard lights, call for a tow truck. These are symptoms of an imminent and catastrophic failure of a steering or suspension component. Your life is worth more than the cost of a tow. So, what is your next move? If you performed the checks and found the fluid was low, and topping it off solved the problem, great. But keep an eye out for leaks. If the belt looks worn or the noise persists after adding fluid, it is time to visit a professional mechanic. Do not be afraid to seek expert help. A good mechanic can diagnose the problem accurately and get you back on the road safely. Ask for a clear explanation of the problem and an estimate before they start the work. Your car is talking to you. Listen to it. Take a few minutes today to pop the hood and check your power steering fluid. Look at your serpentine belt. Pay attention to the sounds your car makes. Fix it early. Fix it right, and you will save money and, more importantly, you will ensure your car remains a safe and reliable machine. If this guide helped you, let me know in the comments below. Share your story. What did you find? Stay safe out there and keep on wrenching. Subscribe for more no-fluff car fixes. Like the video if it helped, and tell us what you think in the comments below. New or old car, a squeak means act now. Your steering is your lifeline. Treat it that way.